All right, Guitar Friends, episode
Is this all working?
33.
Those all turned on and everything? Wow.
33. A combination between 3 and 5. 33. Suze, I have, you guys, I have something special. You ready for this?
This is...
You ready for this?
This
Was
is
that
gonna,
the,
this
was
is
that
gonna
to sync the audio there?
This is going to blow
Holding it.
people's minds.
Suze is going to blow
Yeah.
people's mind. This is, you've been working all day, Suze, on a demo.
JMP.
I have bad news for you.
Yeah.
You didn't write the best song today at Tone Junkie.
Maybe the second or third best song.
Maybe.
A computer wrote the best
I think this
one.
is first, second, and third. You ready? Here we go. AI, you're still outdone.
Guitar Friends is on. Maybe you're in your car or mowing your lawn. Just turn it up. The Guitar Friends are on.
Mowing your lawn, the guy.
The biggest podcast about guitars on. As long as you don't count all the ones that have big guests and are very intentional about actually having guitar-related conversations. Guitar Friends is on. This is Guitar Friends.
This is by far the best one.
Susan John too. It's mostly about guitar, but also some other stuff will
the best
be
one.
discussed too. But it's most about guitar, unless we get distracted and talk about food or Teslas, or how annoying it is that Californians keep moving everywhere and bring their terrible ideas and ruin their state to Nashville.
But
But no swing guitar.
Wow.
is that perfect or what?
I don't think we'll ever beat this.
That is the best one.
Now, I will say this. This was aided by me. I wrote the lyrics to this. And then I fed the lyrics to AI.
It wasn't just subject matter.
It
You actually wrote
it wasn't
lyrics.
just a prompt.
I see.
I fed the lyrics to
However,
AI.
We listened to 15 variations of these lyrics.
Yes.
And this was
Yes.
by
This
a
was
very
by
wide
far
margin
our
the
This
best
was the one that kind of understood that I was adding lots of words and I wanted it to be humorously packed in. Like, you know what I mean? This was the one that understood
Well,
it.
it nailed the timing.
I know, man.
Like the rhythms are perfect. It's like
Crazy.
straight out of the 70s.
I know.
Wow.
I was like, it sounds like Lionel Richie
Yeah.
from the 70s just crushing it.
It's as though the Commodores wrote our theme song.
Wow.
So,
Hopefully we can bleep this out, but it's catchy as
it's so good.
It really is.
It's so
dude.
good.
Like,
it really is.
It's so good.
Guitar Friends is on. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just like,
I know.
get your friends.
I
It's
know. I
playing.
I know.
I
And
know.
it's about all these other things, but mostly guitar.
I love
Yes.
that the mowing your lawn guy is referenced.
Yes, all of these are references. These were mostly complaints
comments.
from the comments. So really, I wrote the lyrics, but it was also the ideas were crowdsourced. These
That's
are
amazing.
These are all the things that people were commenting. Like today, I saw the worship tutorial guys. They were live on Facebook or on YouTube.
Yeah.
Even though Facebook's the GOAT. Which let's talk about that in a little bit. I'm going to re-rank social media later,
no.
and I got a hot take because
That's
I know
very
what I was gonna say.
Hold on. Keep going, though.
hang on, Facebook's kind of mid, but it's low key. It's fire. It's the best.
It's kind of mid, but also the GOAT.
It's the best.
Okay.
You know, it's kind of like LeBron. It's like you can't say he sucks. He's obviously amazing, but like no one. I don't like him. I'm not gonna say he's the best,
Yeah.
but kind of.
but kind of the best.
You kind of know it, and that's why it's annoying.
All right. So
But
what
anyway.
about worship tutorials?
So they were live, which we got to start doing lives and stuff.
That's why I'm here.
And
Keeping us on track.
you know, I went in there and I was like, let me. That's why I was late to lunch, by the way. Sorry, that's why I was 8 minutes late showing up to lunch with you.
That's okay.
But I basically, you know, I was like, let me just distract them for a little bit. So I started doing the super chats where you pay to get your thing read, and we just started telling guitar jokes. And I thought this could be fun. And I mean, we should go live sometime and just do this
We
and
should
have
do this
people
on
ask
here.
questions. You know, I'm gonna just like we're gonna make that happen soon. We'll just do one of these live.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Then people can complain at us in real time.
yeah,
We're going to
They
have a
can complain
conversation
us-
about it.
They can complain us in real time. Anyway,
You
just,
think we're off topic on here?
Oh my gosh. When
Wait
we have
until the
comments to
lives are on
interact with.
So just because I think it's good, we should start a new segment on the show, and maybe we'll have to write a jingle or theme song for this. Maybe we'll put one in here. I don't know.
We're no shortage of theme songs. We
Yeah.
got, good ones.
We'll have AI write a theme song for right here.
Is this called Jokes with HW?
It's called Guitar Friends Joke of the Week.
Yeah, the friend joke of the week.
So you ready for the Guitar Friend Joke of the Week?
Oh, okay.
All right, you ready? How do you get a guitarist off your porch?
I don't know.
I don't know how.
Pay him for the pizza.
Wow.
You see that?
I have delivered pizzas, so that resonates very well. I worked for Domino's for years.
Did you
really? So I sure
when
did.
was that? When was
This
that?
was after college,
That's so
before
great.
like ministry jobs.
Right.
I was like a student, and I worked for Domino's and delivered pizzas.
And were you
Pay him
playing
for
at
your
in the country band at the time?
No, this was way before that. Yeah,
Before,
this was
before.
like 07 or something.
Yeah.
But
What were you doing? You playing out anywhere?
I was just a student. I was just going to school. I was playing at church,
Mm-hmm.
and for extra money, I worked at Domino's.
Was Bleed American on in the car while you were delivering pizza?
That was
Oh,
the
it
best
had
part
to
about
be.
that job was that
Right. You just listen to music
pizza all day long, and you're mostly in your car. Like,
Yeah.
that's the lion's share of the day is like just listening to music in your
Free
car.
pizza, hanging out, driving around.
Yeah.
It's a
Tips.
lot. Yeah. And you don't have anyone in your car like these Uber
No,
drivers
you're
today.
just by yourself.
Yeah, you're just by yourself.
yeah.
It's just cool.
Windows down.
Take calls and stuff. You ever get in an Uber and they're like covertly on a call in their ear? They're like, "Hello, sir. Yes. Okay." They get in and they're like, you're like driving, and all of a sudden they're like, "Yeah,
Is that to me you're
yes."
saying
But,
this? Yeah.
well, they're like, "Yeah," and then I'm like, "What?
Yeah, what's
are you
going on?"
talking at me in the front seat?" And then I'm like, and then they're like, "Oh, is it too cold?" You know, and I'm like, "Are you on a call?"
no, it's the phone call.
yeah. What?
I
Just
don't
cover it
like.
now.
I don't like Ubers. I don't like taking Ubers.
No.
No. I don't like it. I'd rather rent a car and pay more money.
So I feel like Uber's kind of saved my life a couple times because one time I was trying to go to the Oakland airport when I was living near the San Francisco airport because Southwest has 1 million flights out of Oakland.
Right.
And by the way, side note, San Francisco is suing Oakland because Oakland is trying to change the name of the Oakland airport to the San Francisco Bay Area International Airport,
That's confusing.
which would be very confusing because the San Francisco airport is called the San Francisco International Airport.
Yeah.
But Oakland feels that people are not aware that Oakland is a convenient way to fly into the San Francisco Bay Area.
So they're going to use their name.
So they're going to use the name San
look.
Francisco International,
Oh, gosh.
San Francisco Bay Area International Airport.
Right.
Of course, San Francisco and the San Francisco Airport are like,
Why not just?
we are suing you.
Why not
Yeah,
just
stay away.
You can't even keep your stoplights working.
Yeah.
And you all of a sudden want to pretend to be.
Deep cut.
We talked about it again. Why not just call it like Bay Area International Airport, California Bay Area?
We're going to fly to the Bay Area. Why don't we go?
Right. They're let's be honest. They're trying to get rid of the name Oakland.
They are.
Yeah.
They are.
That's
Look, when
the
they had the Warriors, no one called them the Oakland Warriors. It's the Golden Gate Warriors. Right. You know what
Oakland
I'm saying?
A's.
Yeah.
That was back in the day, though.
Yeah. What are they now?
Don't know.
Vegas or
I was
something?
a
Are they in
huge A's
Vegas?
fan, dude, when I lived there.
Were you?
Oh, my gosh.
Are they in Vegas, maybe?
Oh, did they move?
I don't know.
See, I
don't
didn't-
We
watch
are the
those
3
things.
least qualified people to talk
Look at the
about
size of that
sports.
cicada, man. Can we just talk about this for 10 seconds?
Oh, yeah, this-
These
Oh,
things
that's
are
big.
so loud.
Dude, they're all over
and
everywhere.
humongous. They keep hitting my car.
Is your every single tree in my neighborhood is
Yeah.
covered. The trunks are
oh,
covered.
you can see them flying
100
around.
of them on every trunk. It's wild.
It's the most I've ever seen.
oh yeah.
Apparently
How
they
far away do you
pee.
think that tree line is?
Ooh, I'm bad at that. 50 feet?
30 yards.
30 yards. We are
40
35 yards away from, I would guess, 2 million insects that look like that.
Totally.
Wow.
Like you go in there and you can see them swarming.
Remember the
If you
last
look
podcast
close.
though? We're like, man, you can hear them. They're so loud. I went in that other bedroom and the door was open.
Yeah, I had the door
Or the
open.
window was open.
That's on us.
I was like, no wonder we can hear them.
No wonder they're so loud.
They're not that loud.
That's how, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I keep the window usually open in there to.
That's right.
You know. Anyway, yeah, these Uber drivers. So one time I'm going to Oakland and it's early, like an early flight, because I always take early flights. I love early flights. Like if I got to wake up at 3:30, get to the airport at 4, get on that flight at 5:30. We're taking off at 5:30. Because then you fly back to San Francisco, you show up, and you've been awake for hours, and these fools are like, "It's 8:30 in the morning. What's going on?" You know,
see.
and it's like, get with it.
You have an
know,
advantage.
get out of your tent on the sidewalk and get with it.
Right. I'm here now.
What's the Venn diagram of people that live in tents but also taking flights?
What's in the middle of that?
No, very few.
There's very
Yeah.
few crowd.
You
They're
know
like,
what, though?
oh my
I don't
gosh, I
know.
overslept.
You know
I'm
what,
late for
though?
my
Well, I
flight."
would just say, actually, there was the 400,000 that the White House flew in privately over the southern border into the interior United States.
All right, let's.
That didn't get any news. I'm just saying. The White House admitted that they flew in
We're
400,000
treading
immigrants
dangerously
on
close to
private
actual
flights
topics here.
Yeah.
We shouldn't do that.
in an effort to relieve congestion at the
Can you
border.
imagine these Uber drivers? So what happened in Uber?
Thank you again, John.
Anyway, I didn't say whether I agreed with the policy. I just said what they said they did.
Oh, that doesn't matter.
Everyone heard it away. You know what I mean? Like, it's like when you say you drive a Tesla.
I tried
And
to get us off,
It's like when you
but-
say you
I
drive
saw
a
it.
Tesla, right? And it's like some people are like, I'm mad because I don't like Elon's politics, and now you must agree with Elon's politics, so I don't like you. And then other people, a lot of people, who are like, oh, you like those electric cars, you tree hugging hippie? I don't like you for that reason. And then I'm like, so both sides have a reason to hate this
Right.
thing because you just project your own view onto it.
Right.
It has not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I bought the Tesla like for the same reason you all bought your Tesla.
It's a blank canvas.
They're awesome.
You painted the picture.
Yes, you painted it. And you know why that's funny? You know, I mean, you know why that's what's ironic about that? The car is the only one that actually has a blank canvas app that you can draw your own doodles while you're driving the car. So it really is a blank canvas.
Wow. It
really
it's the
is.
Sketchpad.
It really is. I've never
Sketchpad.
used a Sketchpad.
You can publish your own photos. I don't know where they publish to.
I have watched so many hours of YouTube sitting waiting for my kids at various
Oh, yeah.
functions.
It's real
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the best.
It's like I could watch it on my phone, but why?
Why would I do that?
Why would I do
quite
that?
a bit bigger.
Yeah.
Why would I do that? This is better.
That plays with the speakers.
yeah.
It's the best.
It's
the
like how I
best.
put stuff in the frunk even when it's not convenient.
Yeah.
just because.
And then my wife's like, why are you putting it up there? And I'm like, what's the point of having a frunk if we don't put stuff in it?
you don't want to avoid it.
Yeah.
I haven't used it very much. I've used it for ice though. and
Yeah, for
the
ice.
best.
Come on.
That's
They
the
even
best.
sell an ice cooler that fits in the frunk, and you close it, and you
I
keep
should do that.
and keep drinks and stuff in
I
there.
like that.
Then
You
you
could
do.
put 6
Then you
packs
do
of
the
beer.
boom box.
Whatever you'd like to
a
keep
party
cold.
mobile.
How do I know that reference?
This Tommy
Tommy
Boy.
Boy is
Yeah.
the best.
Yeah. Okay. So Uber driver probably saved my life several times because one time I got in this car and I'm trying to go early in the morning, and so Uber drivers will often they're looking for they'll be downtown, they'll be when the bars close, they'll be in this area when there's they know the areas where they're likely to get work, deliveries, whatever. And so he's hanging out near the SF airport, and he's thinking, I'll get some airport people. And then he's like, I've been up all night driving. I'm on my last ride. Well, then he gets connected with me, and I get in the car, and he goes, oh, Oakland Airport? And I go, yeah. He goes, all right. This dude's falling asleep. I'm going, hey, man, you okay? You all right? You all right? I'm tapping on the shoulder. We're on the Bay Bridge. I'm tapping on the shoulder. And he's like, yeah, I'm good. And then he's like, yeah, sorry, this is my last one. I've been driving. I was like, you've been driving all night? He's like, yeah, I've been driving all night. And he's like, I was trying to get one more ride, but I didn't realize it was going to be this big ride. And I was thinking, why didn't you deny the ride or look at it first?
go home.
So then
Yeah.
I'm at the airport and I'm thinking, it's not worth my life to get in one of these. So I always if I have an early morning flight out like that, I either call a black car company or I pay for Uber Black because I know that those guys are not driving all night. They just check out. I don't know. There's some. I've never had one of them fall asleep. But I don't want some Yahoo to kill me in his car because he wanted one more.
Nah, man.
You know what I mean?
In
It's
his
just-
defense,
dude,
I think all they can see is how much they're going to earn. They don't know where it is.
no.
They don't know where they're going. Because then, you would obviously, filter things out. I think all they're going to see is how much they earn. I think so.
Yeah.
That could have changed. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
It is super convenient. I just don't like the process of it. I don't like it at all.
Yeah.
I'd rather have
Interesting.
I'd
it
rather
used to
have
be a
my own car.
vibe, and now just like anything, it's like when DoorDash first could come to your door, it was like, this is cool. Wow.
Right.
It's so cutting edge and progressive.
Right.
Now it's
You
a
know?
$24 cheeseburger.
Yes.
Right.
And I don't even want the
Or
bun.
last time I ordered DoorDash, they're like, I got the notification it was delivered. It wasn't delivered. And I was like, hey, the food's not here. And he's like, I delivered it to the address. I was like, it says to hand it to me. You didn't hand it to me. He's like, I put it on the doorstep. And I said, it's not here. I don't know what to tell you. He's like, you'll have to call the restaurant and get a refund. And I'm like, so you just wanted...
Was there a photo?
No.
Oh, see, he took the food.
He just took the food.
He was hungry.
He just wanted... He wanted free... He's like, ooh, Panda Express. This sounds delicious for
You
dinner.
do love Panda Express.
I do.
Hey, I mean, depending on what you ordered,
Delivered.
dude, he got
Delivered.
that food in the car. He was like, this guy ordered double shrimp. this is worth more than the money I'm about to
Yeah.
make by delivering him his double
Totally.
shrimp.
Totally.
And he's got a side
And
of
then
egg
I
rolls.
got my refund, but we had to go, make our own food like peasants.
Why didn't you? Can't you just do it through the app?
I did do it through the app.
And it just doesn't just give you your thing credit right away and then you order again?
I didn't trust it.
Right.
And it was late.
It's late.
We'd already waited 40 minutes.
Right, I know that's the thing.
Do you know what I
want to
mean?
eat
That's the
immediately.
thing.
Yeah, we were already hungry. So anyway. Used to be cool. We can't have nice things.
I think that there's a lot of things in society that we look back on and we go, that's absolutely barbaric. How did we ever do that? Now, there's some obvious ones. I'm not going to say what they are, but one of them is like Civil War amputations. It's like in the Civil War, they didn't really have a good solution. It's like you kind of got shot in the arm, or like they had a lot of cannonballs and shrapnel. And it's like, oh my God, you've got a bunch of metal shrapnel in your arm. What are we going to
Tourniquet,
do?
cut
And
it
they're
off.
like, definitely cut it off and then burn the wound.
Right.
This is what we need to do because you're going to die of an infection, right? Like if you try to keep your arm.
Right.
Right. Even
Yeah,
if
I mean,
it's-
this was in the
yeah.
days when like a bad fever was certain death.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you got infected with your arm like that, you were going to die.
Yeah.
Like so they're like, cut it off, cauterize it. You're not going to get infected. Okay. So they cut off all these legs, cut off all these arms, and we look back and we just go, it's absolutely crazy, barbaric.
Right.
You know, I think that one day they'll write a book on America, and they'll go, when the Americans got to the point in their history when there was an app that could have been called "Call a Peasant to Deliver Me a Chicken Kebab." That was when it all really fell apart. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I do.
I really felt
I
like
do.
that was like it's like such
I
an
do.
absurd thing if you
It
think about it.
is.
It's like I mean, it's insane.
It
right?
totally
I mean,
is.
it's so convenient and stuff, and it's great.
But-
it's one thing for a whole office to like order some food. It's like there's catering, right?
Yeah.
Now we'll deliver it because it's like you're getting food for 24 people. It's another thing to be like, I just really want 4 chicken tenders from Chick-fil-A and medium fries and like half lemonade, half iced tea.
Right.
And I don't want to drive.
Yeah, and I'm good, but I don't
minutes that
I
way.
don't want to drive, but I will write in the notes like how to customize my drink and please grab
Yeah.
extra sugar to put. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
However,
Yeah.
devil's advocate, or I guess opposite opinion here.
Mm-hmm.
Why is pizza the only kind of restaurant that delivers their food? Like pizza has been delivering. They've been delivering pizzas since I was 5 years
Yeah.
old, and probably way before that. So why can't Chick-fil-A have delivery
You know,
drivers?
John, it's really interesting.
Why does Jimmy John's have its own delivery drivers? Why doesn't every restaurant do that?
Yeah, because they're awesome. By the way, one of the comments was, if I drank 2 ounces of water for every time the Guitar Friends brought up Jimmy John's, Teslas, or Nashville going the wrong direction,
Or 2 for
would
3.
I would be very well hydrated. And I think we've done all of it by now. It was all in the song.
Yeah.
Hey, we're trying to make sure people are healthy. Okay?
We're trying. We're doing our part,
trying.
and so is Jimmy John's by delivering delicious subs.
One,
Why is it? Wait, this is
I ordered Jimmy John's recently, like
Yeah.
last week, and I was like, there was a knock at the door, and I'm like, that can't be them. That's too fast. And it was.
Wow.
It's wild,
dude.
The only way we could piss people off even further is to actually eat Jimmy John's while we're talking.
Next
like it's like,
episode.
you know,
I think we should
We're
do.
chewing
We
it.
just have to do a mobile episode from Jimmy John's. That would-
Alive.
Yeah.
We do
That's
a
the
live
live.
while we eat Jimmy John's.
yeah, bring on the comments, y'all. Just
Yeah.
like in the
Does
the
anyone have
chat.
any comments about Nashville going the wrong
Oh
direction
my gosh.
while we eat Jimmy John's
in our
Teslas?
In the Tesla.
Was it in the
Live.
song? Was that?
Yeah, it's in the song. Look, it says, but it's mostly about guitar unless we get distracted and talk about food or Teslas or how annoying it is that Californians keep moving everywhere and bring their terrible ideas that ruin their state to Nashville. By the way, I mean, we're all from California. This is not said like
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
pointing the finger. We're all from California.
Right.
I watch people do it. You know, I've talked about I was intentional about getting to a place and going, don't change anything. Don't be for change of anything. You know what I mean?
Assimilate.
Assimilate. Don't
Yeah.
be so arrogant that you would show up somewhere and be like, good news, y'all. I'm here to make everything better.
Yeah.
Good news.
Right.
I like this place so much I came to fix it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Crazy, right?
Qualities that
It's like
attracted you
we're
to the
from,
place.
Yeah, yeah. I heard there was
No,
an
that makes
economist
too
one
much
time
sense.
who said something. I'm going to mess this up. If someone knows who said this, it's a famous quote. And he said, better to live under robber barons than well-meaning, something. I can't remember. But well-meaning, basically like administrators or something. And he said, because at least the appetite of the robber barons will be like satisfied. at some times. But like the well-meaning,
Right.
like the person who
Good
thinks
luck.
they're fixing things,
Right.
right,
Yeah.
will
Right.
never stop.
Yeah.
That sounds like something Thomas Sowell would have
It might
said.
be Thomas
Yeah.
Sowell.
Wow.
It could be Milton Friedman.
Right.
It could be. Okay. In case there was any questions about my ideologies, I think we just outed ourselves with
Yeah.
the Milton Friedman and
Wow.
the Thomas Sowell quotes.
Is this when we talk about Coldplay?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So Coldplay.
What happened to you?
Oh. Do we want to say? Yeah. So my 13-year-old daughter
yes.
is like, have you heard this song? And then she played Yellow by Coldplay. I was like, obviously I've heard
From
this song.
1997 or whenever that came out.
Yeah. And I was like, have you listened to the whole album though? Parachutes.
Yeah.
And she's like, no. And I was like, we should, because it's great.
Oh man.
And I said, and then this kind of really brought me back to, I'm like, this is what I used to put on in my Discman to go to sleep. I used to go
For
to
sure,
I used to
yeah.
fall asleep to that
It's so
album
relaxing.
almost every night.
Yeah.
It wasn't like Stained singing one of those songs.
No.
Aaron was his name. Lewis.
No, it was like that.
Like Spies. That's such a great song.
So good. Shiver, so good, dude.
So
Anyway.
did she listen to it? The whole thing?
Yeah, she loves it.
So it like translates to today.
Yeah.
Like okay.
And
wow.
then it's still great. And then I was like, okay, well let's listen to Fix You. Because this is like a religious experience, you know? She's like, I like the other one better. I was like,
older one.
really?
Yeah.
But then we were talking about how there's like 3 different versions
Well,
of Coldplay.
yeah, you brought up like my daughter listened to Coldplay, and my question was which one?
Right,
Like
which
there
Coldplay?
seems to be
Which
like at
Coldplay,
least
yeah.
3 or 4 of them, like
Right.
changing. There's like the indie British bands,
Right.
you know, that was just like
That's what she was like, wait, are they British? Like she didn't get
Wow.
it from the song Yellow,
okay,
I think. Maybe she did.
okay.
But I was like, yeah.
I would
for
put that Parachutes and Rush of Blood kind of together as both being that genre,
Right.
and then is X and Y right after that?
I think so.
Can I tell you a really great like memory I have of
Yeah.
like a bygone era?
Yeah.
I remember watching Coldplay. It couldn't have been the Super Bowl, but it was some event they were playing.
Yeah.
And I remember they zoomed up on Chris Martin's hands, and he had equal signs on his hands. And he was playing the intro, and the camera panned out. And I remember we all went, what does that mean? And then someone went to a computer and Googled it. And then we saw it meant like equality, fair trade. There was like a couple meanings. We didn't really know what he meant. So it was still kind of mysterious. But it was like he was standing for something. And I was like, and we saw it, and we were like, what does it mean? Whoa. And they were like, do you think he means that? What does this mean? And I don't think that would happen anymore, because now the equivalent of Chris Martin would just have a TikTok where even
Right.
celebrities just chat about
Right.
like stuff. But he's one of those guys, even late in that era, there was like mystery around him.
Right.
He didn't do a ton of media.
Right.
And
Yeah, what's he all about?
There's like a little bit of an enigmatic figure there.
Right.
A real artist.
Can I tell you what I thought you were going to say?
Yeah.
You're like, the equivalent now, I thought you were going to say, would have it tattooed on his face.
Well, yes, it would be his Instagram profile
Right.
photo.
Also that.
And it would be the 2 little lines on the thing, right? There'd be no nuance to it, right?
Right.
Which is it.
Well, you
There'd be
leave
no
nothing-
mystery.
because
Leave
like,
nothing
is
to
it-
the imagination.
like is Post Malone the modern like Chris Martin? Is that, do you know what I mean? Like that's what I think of. It's like
Yeah, it could be.
mega
Yeah.
pop star guy,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, that was the whole thing. Is like back in the day. I don't know when you saw them, but like that they weren't mega pops. It was just like
I know they
You
didn't
know,
start that way for sure.
the very first comment I heard was they're like a wannabe U2, which I thought was so
Sure.
interesting. Like because it was
Sure.
like I love U2,
Right.
and then I listened to Coldplay. I was like, yeah, there's some similarities, but like I
Yeah.
don't really get that.
Delay and accents. Those are the
Accent. Yeah, they're not from
That's
America.
totally-
We
Yeah,
know that.
right,
Totally.
You
right.
know?
Yeah, but Coldplay after Viva La Vida, they kind of lost me.
Yeah,
I never
X and
really.
Y seems like the peak to me.
Well, no,
you know?
no offense to him. No,
Yeah.
I mean, like, no shade to anybody.
Yeah.
You can't write the same record when you're married to Gwyneth Paltrow and have millions and millions of dollars as you do when you're a young bloke from England who is
Totally,
like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, you just
Absolutely.
can't write the same record.
He developed, the
Yeah.
music followed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
He named his kids Apple, right?
That's something.
That's something,
Yeah,
you know?
it really is something.
Yeah.
But that's what we were talking about then.
Yeah.
About how, you know, bands change.
People
Yeah,
change.
different
then-
eras.
Yeah,
Yeah.
different eras.
Yeah.
And well,
Some bands don't seem to change less though. Like I think Jimmy Eat World, to me, is like they stayed very much in a lane and they write songs very similar to the other songs on all the other records.
You feel like Jimmy Eat World does that?
Maybe see, like I think if Coldplay had 3 or 4 iterations, maybe Jimmy Eat World had like 2
Maybe 2.
or
Right.
3 or 3 at the most. You know.
Yeah. I really only got into Bleed American and then Futures, but way less.
Who's a band that doesn't change? I have a band in my head that I go, they know what they do. They're not trying to change. Whether they are as good now as they were at other eras.
Right.
But I don't think they're trying to like change. I have a band in my head that I think is very popular that I would say, I don't know that they've tried to reinvent themselves, but
Right.
their music's changed, but I don't think they've tried
My
to
first thought was like Judas Priest. They're,
course it
like
was.
they're not
Yeah.
changing.
Yeah,
Do you know
right,
what I
right,
mean?
right.
Like
Yeah.
all they want to do is their thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like Megadeth. Like they're not.
Yeah. Mine was Metallica.
Oh, was it?
I don't
See, but that's
see. There's been eras of Metallica, but I don't think they've ever done anything but sought out to make metal.
Oh, dude, you're gonna make a lot of people mad right now.
I
Did
know.
they get harder over the years? Like,
Well, they got
as-
older, and I think if you listen to James Hetfield talk about this, I've heard him talk about we're older, we're not the same people.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's ever been like let's reinvent the band. Like, what's the new?
Bro, are
Okay,
you
you tell
forgetting?
me.
Are you
You tell me.
forgetting the fact that when the Black Album came out, that like changed everything?
Well, yes.
Everything like Ride the Lightning and Master of Puppets before that was like, I mean, earth-shatteringly different than everything else happening. And then the Black Album is like a 180 from what those things were. And then at one point in time, they all cut their hair. And
shit, I
everyone was
forgot
like, "Oh my God,
new
Metallica
era.
cut their hair."
I
Now
do
they have
remember when they
short
cut their hair. Maybe I didn't
That
choose the
was
best
like-
example. Maybe you're like Judas Priest a better example. But I would
Yeah.
say Judas Priest doesn't quite have the depth of the discography and the number of hits.
For sure.
That's right. So it's like a little easier. Not that they're a one-hit wonder, but
I feel like
they're a band more in an era.
I feel like that's maybe what, that's what people's problem with Metallica is.
Mm-hmm.
Is like they just want it to be one of those things,
the same
and they
old,
and they keep like. But I don't know. Unfortunately, I feel like every time Metallica tries to make themselves better, they make themselves worse.
Wow. I thought Green Day, like I listened to their most recent album, and I thought this could have been released in 2001.
Totally.
Yeah.
I
Li-
thought,
like, which is a feat.
I thought the exact same thing. I was like, oh, new Green Day.
It's
like-
just a blast from the past. Like it's
Totally.
like that's their brand, that's their lane, and they're just like.
I almost thought like, have I heard this song before?
Exactly. Are these recuts of old songs? Like no, they wrote this last
Totally.
year.
311, same thing.
311.
311.
Yeah, we were just listening to American Idiot upstairs, and it does sound like it could have been in the 90s.
Oh,
It
yeah.
like
Oh,
has
yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like an HD version of it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's high def. It's the Blu-ray of an
You can
old
hear
movie.
them get richer, like they have
Yeah.
more money to spend on mixes.
I feel like that's the only thing that gives it
Yeah.
away is
The
the
production.
production.
Like they remastered Star Wars, and it's
Yeah.
re-released. It's the same movie.
the plot's the
But
same.
Yeah.
The
It looks
plot
way
of
better.
the
now.
band.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. The plot of a band. You know, when you change the plot.
What's the plot
You know, the
of the band?
underlying. What are they trying to say? Or
Do
what
you
are they
think
all
Foo
about?
Fighters is like that?
Oh, that's a good question. Oh, I just listened to their whole catalog like a month ago.
What is their latest album like? I haven't even listened to it.
You know, the playing is good on like I would say the last 3 records, but the songs are not as good to me. Like the underlying song.
I haven't listened
you
a
know.
ton to the later Foo Fighters. I've heard
Yeah.
some of it. My impression was this sounds like a pretty good band that people would be like, sounds like the Foo Fighters.
Yeah,
Like
similar
if this was
to-
another
yeah.
band, you'd be like, they
Right.
sound a lot like the Foo Fighters.
Yeah. Concrete and Gold was good. There were some like jams on that.
I feel
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Concrete and Gold was the last one that I was like floored by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But dude,
But-
you listen to like Monkey Wrench and like all
Yeah.
that.
I was
Color
just
and
gonna
the
say
Shape.
Color
Yeah.
and the Shape up to gosh, I don't even remember the names now. The one with All My Life on it. I don't know. They had some
Oh yeah, white cover.
yeah.
Okay, I'm going to
had some good-
180 here. I'm going to say the guy or the person who has successfully reinvented themselves the most. There's probably 2 people. One is Madonna, which we don't really listen to Madonna, but if you go back at Madonna's kind
Did
of
she really? I haven't really followed, obviously, but
I think she's reinvented herself completely. Like I think she's basically had like 3 careers. If you don't count this later, she tried. I think the last 2 times she's tried to reinvent herself, nothing's happened.
Right.
You know, like she married Guy Ritchie trying to reinvent herself, and then she tried to do it again, and Guy Ritchie.
But there are big gaps.
Her
Like, she almost,
latest-
like,
There are
quits,
gaps.
and
I
then
mean,
she comes
she's
back.
she was recently on tour or playing shows or something.
Yeah, and Guy
it was
Ritchie had
like-
some negative things to say about
And
it.
it was like, oof.
Anyway, at the risk of this sounding like a,
She just looks old.
a
I mean,
gossip podcast, she's old.
Yeah, she's just,
she
you know,
looks
it's
how
like
she
you
looks.
just can't get up and
Yeah.
do the things you used to do.
Yeah,
I do want to announce that we've been talking about music for a long time.
but not guitar. But not
But
guitar.
not guitar.
Not
All
guitar.
these
guitar.
bands have guitar, maybe not Madonna.
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say the person who I think has reinvented themselves the most repeatedly over the years and had, I think, has gone like this in terms of success and you know, commercial viability is John Mayer. So John Mayer is a guy who starts kind of making like music that gets big with college girls and college people. And he kind of gets big in this scene. And then when he gets a little more, he makes an album that you might say is better, but it's different. He goes kind of electric. And then by the time he gets to his third record, I mean, he has some big songs under. He's had like poppy singles on the radio, and then he wins the Grammy Album of the Year with Continuum. A lot of people say that's his best album until
Sob Rock.
Sob Rock. A lot of people felt like
Oh,
Continuum.
interesting.
And a lot of people still say Continuum is my favorite album. And a lot of people have felt like Continuum is one of the best albums ever. It's one of the great albums like of all time. This is like the
Continuum is very,
would agree.
There's
very,
great stuff.
very good. Battle Studies is good, but Continuum is
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, so here's
Yeah.
the thing. So like he is a guy who goes up. What's after is Battle Studies right after Continuum? Yes, I think.
I believe so.
I would say nowhere near as strong as Continuum. There's some good stuff on it. Then he does he does
Is that when you did the big hat in the park?
no, that's when in my
No.
opinion he made some of the best music of his
Oh, Born and
life,
Raised.
but commercially not as viable.
Right.
Yeah.
He realizes he's a narcissist. And this is after breaking up with Jennifer Aniston and having these rumors about Jessica Simpson and having all this, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then Born and Raised is about like moving to the middle of nowhere, realizing you're a narcissist, realizing you got everything you want in life and you're still not happy. So what's life about?
Yeah.
And then he writes that record. And it kind of puts him back on a little bit. Because then the next record, he starts dating Katy Perry. She's on it. So is
Wait, what
Paradise
is-
Valley?
Yeah,
Paradise Valley. Has some of the same. You can tell there's some of that there, but
What's
who's
the one with
guy?
Taylor Swift on?
That's later.
That's later.
It's he's got Katy Perry and who was the dude? He was a R&B singer for a while. The name it's not Macklemore, but it's a name like I forget. I remember someone recently told me they were like, "That's my favorite." Someone we know and like, they were like, "That's my favorite John Mayer record." And I was like, "Are you comfortable with saying the best John Mayer record has Katy Perry and this singer on it? Like, are you comfortable with that?" He
You
was
have to
like,
live with it.
He was like, "Just skip the songs."
Just
I
skip
was
the
like,
songs.
I was like, okay, if that feels all right to you, you
Best
go ahead and do it.
record, but skips some songs.
Right.
It's like, okay.
But then,
I don't know.
then,
Katy Perry's pretty great.
but then John like comes back, reinvents himself. And what's interesting is a lot of people thought, wow, it's so crazy that John Mayer, all of a sudden he's dressing like the 80s. He's doing this stuff.
Right.
By the way, we skipped over the John Mayer trio. He
Right.
did a genius thing with Steve
Oh,
Jordan
that
and
was
Pino
good.
Palladino.
Right.
And
But what
if you
was
watch
the-
if you watch Live in LA, he is three bands.
He like opens for
He
himself.
opens for himself
Yes.
with the early
Twice.
acoustic stuff.
Right.
Then he does the like these are deep cuts. I'm basically covering Stevie Ray Vaughan stuff,
Right.
doing Hendrix with the trio. Then he does all the hits with the big band
He
and
changes
everything.
bands. It's
Yeah.
actually really genius.
It's genius. Then he gets, but after he goes through all that, he comes out. Sob Rock, people are like, wow, he completely transformed himself. What they didn't miss was that John's dry run was that he starts dressing like a cowboy. But because it wasn't that commercially successful, nobody was like, why is John Mayer playing dress up?
Right.
But if you notice, he dresses like whatever his album has been. He's actually been doing it for like 8 or 9 years
It's
now.
like his own marketing.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Right? He completely gets in it. He's almost like a character, like, you know, there's character actors that get in character
Yeah.
and stay there. He's almost like a character
method
musician.
actor.
yeah. You know?
He's a method musician.
He's
Yeah.
the Daniel Day-Lewis.
He's
of
like Method
music.
Man.
Yeah, that's the one.
There you go. And
Yeah,
but
The
anyway,
Search-
his
but-
latest
and-
stuff is great. And then
yeah.
he did the Search for
The Search
Everything
for
in there.
Everything.
That was before, and
That was
and,
before
and the
Sob
way
Rock.
he released that was even 6 and 6.
Right.
And even he put out that one song earlier.
New Light.
Before New Light, he put out one that didn't have a home, and then later it was like a year and a half later, He released 6 first,
Right.
and then 6 later.
Yeah.
Right, and even that at the time was
Your
like, whoa,
point,
he's doing
though,
it.
your point about him reinventing himself is very good.
Yes, thank you for getting us back on track,
Yes.
John. We were
why
distracted.
I'm
Yeah. And every time he does, he authentically delivers that genre.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like it really is
Yeah.
like rootsy kind of acoustic music.
sure.
It really is 80s solos and that kind of stuff. It's like
I mean,
awesome.
look, when you have virtually an unlimited budget,
Yeah.
time and money to write your
And
songs,
talent. I mean, that's
no,
it
totally talent.
Yeah.
But like, you've seen like the Last Train Home, like that he recorded like they recorded that song in like 3 or 4 different genres. And they're like,
I should check that out. I don't think.
oh,
I've
it's
heard that.
great because
Okay.
there's like a really mellow version of it that's
interesting.
awesome.
Yeah.
But it's like they did that with a lot of the songs on that album.
Dude, do you know how much hate we're gonna get now that we've now basically said John Mayer's the best at reinventing himself and everything he does is great and authentic? I mean,
I got no problem with it.
I got no problem with it either.
It's good. Dude.
It's
I'm
the
here
truth.
for it.
It's the
I'm here
truth.
for it. When
Okay.
when we went to see him last year, I remember
Yeah.
I told someone
yeah.
that we got tickets and I was all excited about it, and he's like, "John Mayer." He's like, "Does your wife really like him?"
Dude,
No.
And
I
was
can't
like,
get there,
I was
man.
like,
I know.
"No, man, I'm a bigger fan of him than my wife is."
Yeah.
I
I'll
promise
just tell a
you.
story just so people get it. Like Matt Revere, who makes all of the what do we call them? Inspired by packs.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, dude, let me do Inspired by Van Halen. I'm like, okay, right. Matt plays with Carrie Underwood. He was playing with GNR this week. You know, they were sharing
Right.
the stage with GNR, and he's been all the songs he was singing Axl's parts. Axl ends up coming out and doing the song. Now he's playing
Right.
guitar with Axl. Got to hang out with them all and everything. Matt's in it. Matt's living the life. He's a rock star.
Right.
You know, he's doing solos in front of
Legit.
20,000 people in a stadium.
Yeah.
Not a Mayer fan. He was like, ugh. So he was like, fine, I'll do. He was like, fine. He was like, dude, let me do Eddie. I was like, let's do it. Then I was like, he's like, who else should we do? I was like, Slash. He was like, and then what's funny is he did all the Slash stuff,
Yeah.
and then they scheduled that tour, and Carrie
Wow.
and Guns N' Roses went out, like kind of, But he was like, oh, I'm already playing a bunch of the songs because in Vegas, Carrie has like the residency. They're opening up with Welcome to the Jungle. They're
right.
opening up with a bunch of fun songs,
Yeah.
and Matt was singing them and playing it and stuff. And so then I go, well, dude, we should do like John Mayer. He's like, no, I do not like John Mayer. So I'm like, okay, can you do Hendrix? He's like, sure. So we do Hendrix. And then I go, dude, you got to do John. The day he showed up to the demo, I said, let me ask you a question. Now that you've sat down, learned the songs, now that you've dialed in these tones and listened to the isolated tracks, does that change your opinion? And he goes, he is very good. Very, very good.
Yes.
And I go, yeah, man.
He
is.
actually is unbelievable.
If you don't
I'm
engage
sorry.
the music, the stuff you'd hear on the radio, you'd be like, Body is a Wonderland guy.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude.
Right.
Okay,
I get it.
We'll switch subjects because people are going to get mad that we're talking about John Mayer.
I'll defend it.
Okay. Well, they'll start to get
We
mad.
could talk about it longer if we wanted to.
Favorite Mayer song, and then we'll switch topics.
Oh man. I'm thinking Continuum just because that's my go-to.
Sure.
Dang.
Man, it's a little cheesy, but like Slow Dancing is
Come on.
freaking nails.
Who has written a new iconic guitar riff?
That is, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It might as well be the intro to Little Wing or
Yeah.
Welcome to the Jungle. I mean, it's that
People
like
sound check with it. They test guitars with
dude,
it.
it's-
That's yeah.
You pick
No,
up a
it's-
Strat and you don't play that. You didn't even hear
What
the
are you
Strat.
doing? Yeah,
It's
yeah.
very
You didn't
good.
hear it.
Right.
It's very good.
And also the way he like orchestrates his songs with very clear sections, very like key changes that you don't really notice. That song
Yeah.
kind of does.
He
that.
rips.
Yeah.
My first thought was Gravity, but then Still Feel Like Your Man is. I still.
It feels good when it's on.
I think the vocals, like the lyrics of "Still Feel Like Your Man," are one of my. Those are one of my it's one of my favorite lyrics. Of his.
Yeah.
I still leave your shampoo in my shower.
Yeah.
In case you want to wash your hair.
Come on.
So great.
it's like sad.
It's so real. It's
He's
so
just got
real.
the best-
Like
he's
I
got
know
the-
what he's thinking. You know what I mean?
I literally cried when I wrote, I still keep your shampoo in my shower in case you want to wash your hair. That's the saddest lyric I've ever written in my life. Think of how much desperation is in that line. She's not coming to wash her hair at your house. It's over.
He's just got the best way to say stuff. What were we saying the other day when I said this is like the most romantic way to say my dad's an alcoholic and it's still affecting me? What was the song? Remember I said that?
Dang, I don't. It's dark though.
I don't remember.
It was a song. It was a thing about. Oh, it was a Weezer song, right? Remember we were doing.
Oh,
Weezer,
yeah.
sure.
Say it
Yeah.
ain't so.
This
Yeah.
bottle of Stevens awakens ancient demons like father, stepfather, it's drowning me inside. And it's like, whoa, we're saying a lot. Without,
We're
yeah,
saying a lot.
we're saying
getting
a lot.
We're saying a lot.
Yeah, this guy's like pointing out, like, yeah, it's like,
Right.
oh, and by the way,
All right.
he's another one that. writes good
Weezer
stuff.
is a band that has reinvented themselves, I think, a little bit, and I'm also here for that. Weezer is great.
Yeah, I like Weezer. But I'm gonna say my favorite Mayer song is a little deep cut. "A Face to Call Home." It's the last song on Born and Raised. It's got a long outro, and I listen to that song and I listen to that whole record. I'm convinced he wrote this song way in another era because that song it really sticks out to me on that record and sounds much more like early John, like live in L.A. or before. You know, before Continuum, before all the stuff. Like it sounds like an older song. How he has this big instrumental on the end of it that's not like this ripping guitar solo. It's not the more modern John sound. Anyway, I think it's the best.
Neon, the guitar part for
Oh,
Neon.
come on,
It's insane.
Matt nailed that in like 2 takes.
dude.
Did he really?
Yes.
I could hear him in the other room. I was like, dang.
I was like, "Are you sure
good.
you're playing it right?" He even showed me. He's like, "No, the first bass note is not a note. It's completely muted."
Right.
And we went and listened, and I was like, "Oh my god, I never even noticed that."
Your mind put it in
In
the
my
song.
head, yeah.
right.
Yeah.
It's like I thought I was in there.
Yeah.
But he's like, "It's not at all." The first
Yeah.
one, it's just dope,
Music's real good, guys.
dude.
Turns
Especially
out.
metal music.
Ooh.
I
like-
listen to more metal.
John, I
recently.
heard you've been making some absolutely beautiful sounds, which, I don't know.
Beautiful.
Can we talk about it? We can't really talk about it yet. It's still, we're going to refer to it still as top secret. But do you want to? You've made something that I think is, it's beautiful. Do you want to play it for us?
Sure.
Here you go.
You think it's
Go ahead.
you think it's beautiful?
Play that riff you played earlier that I said sounded like. That sounds like.
That sounds really good.
That
in
sounds
this
like a
room.
Mesa Boogie triple rec turned up to 10 with a microphone plugged in, and I gave it to my 9-month-old baby, and she went. Blah, 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 blah. See, and if you just do the
Wow.
accents, can you play that and I'll do it with you?
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Wow.
what it sounds like.
Sometimes when you get this look on your face like you're about to say something off the wall, I try to guess what you're going to say. There's no way in hell I would have guessed that.
I was kind of wondering.
Yeah.
And he told me that thing earlier, but I was like, what's he going to say?
I always have about 1 or 2 seconds to guess, but when you said it, I was like, no way could I have gotten that.
No way.
Not even close.
Oh my gosh.
Goodness.
Well,
Yeah, that
is
sounds good, John.
That is a sound, man.
That's a sound.
That
Will
is a
you
sound.
promise me that if you ever do any metal demos that I might be able to play on one of
I
them?
think I can make that happen.
Really?
for you. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
For sure.
Okay. If we go any more inside, we're going
Are
to go
you
inside
comfortable
out.
with tuning your guitar very low?
If it's the Firebird, yeah.
How low? How low?
How low can you go?
Oh.
C
it's actually
mostly, right?
it's actually not that low. It's just drop C.
Yeah, what are these metal people playing? A drop C? So I'm in standard, in E.
Yeah.
And when I'm feeling adventurous, I pick up a guitar in E flat.
Ooh.
Oh, not even D.
I actually love E flat.
Yeah.
Standard.
Yeah.
It's cool. So drop C is essentially D standard, so a whole step down, and then you go the
You drop
octave,
that.
and then
Oh,
you
because that's
drop
why it's
that.
drop.
Right.
Oh,
so
that doesn't
drop
seem as low as I would think.
Yeah, so it's basically so drop something usually means that
Right,
the first
right.
three
Drop
are,
D. Yeah.
are
So
doing
you're
a
going
power
drop
chord.
C. I see.
So
Yeah.
C, G, C on the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. Then there's drop B, which is another half step.
You'll never guess what those notes are.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I share a gripe?
But then
you?
with
Go
like 7 strings and stuff, people are doing. So on a 7 string, you do the most common thing is to do drop A. So you take the lowest string and drop it a whole step.
also.
No, you leave it so it's A, E. So you get.
Oh, they're
So now
adding
you
the
get
A.
like a 7 string chord.
Right. So it's
Power
in
chord.
standard, but we have the A lower.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
a fifth lower.
It's a fifth lower. So if you play an A chord, you have that
A
and
is
then a
there.
whole octave.
The octave.
Now wait, does that mean you can still
freaking
like
awesome.
when you? But then you can't do the drop D thing when you're barring across.
You can, but it's an A-shaped bar chord then. It's
Oh, so
On
you're
a seven
barring
s-
across the 2 low strings, just right across.
the 3 low string.
Oh, and that
yeah.
forms like a second inversion.
a power chord. Yeah.
But the bass is technically the second string.
I don't know.
So an A.
So it's
Oh, no, 'cause an A would
it's
have- yes, 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 yes.
A, it's A, E, and then it's standard tuning from
So
there.
you can just. I see.
So on a 7 string, if you just drop the lowest string a whole step,
So you can just play the 2 open chords, and it's like playing a
now
power
you
chord
have
A. You
yeah,
got the A
ba-
and the E.
Exactly. You basically have an A,
I see.
and then the fifth, and then an octave
You don't even
down.
need your other hand. You just can play with one hand.
It's like Goo Goo Dolls. You just keep playing like
Right.
open like that and
The
move
big
the
open
bottom.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
They're-
Anyway.
I know that they're nothing.
But then
alike.
when
See,
you
I
start
thought metal
getting
was
into like
complicated. Turns out you
then-
guys are making the
Huh.
guitar even easier to play.
even easier, yeah. But then when you start getting into 8-string guitars, it's like
Is that
it's
why
pretty
everything
whack.
in metal is about like timing and syncopation? Is because everyone's bored, they're not hitting any chords. The chords are just laying your finger down.
Yeah, could be.
you have like 12 options.
It's a
for
lot
where-
of like. I mean, there's a lot. I guess there's a lot to it. I feel like the right hand technique in metal is still pretty difficult. Like if you watch James Hetfield,
Oh, I was just thinking this. Yes.
when you watch James Hetfield play and especially and sing
He's
at the
such a
same
monster.
time, it's insane.
Such a monster.
But like, yeah, really fast right hand stuff is
Yeah.
important,
and the rhythms have to be like surgically correct.
and the rhythms, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's why playing drums for metal is like, it's like a different. It's like a different skill altogether.
No flamming allowed. You can't like almost hit the beat.
Yeah,
You're
you
like-
gotta really play everything, but then then there's like a blast beat is like everything's sort of happening on a tempo. Also, I don't know. It's really weird.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway,
That's interesting.
I do love metal. I do love that tone. That's a good tone.
Here's another tone.
What's another one?
Well, here's this is hard too. Here's something less hard, I think. I don't really know. I can't really see. They're not really. I didn't label them when I put them in this performance. Do that thing you did earlier. See, I put in no.
The baby thing.
What was that?
The baby thing.
Wait, what? Yeah, do that baby.
I think you know what I'm talking about.
I was gonna give you a little of this action. Do your cleany uppy thing, because that's a weird.
What am I doing?
You're doing.
What are you doing?
There's all sorts of like effects over there.
Look at that.
I don't know.
No, you do that cleany uppy thing that metal players do, where you're like, how could that sound good so clean?
But this isn't like a clean profile.
Oh well, what did we do it with earlier?
Probably. Do we have a clean one on there?
I didn't put it on. Okay, just play the baby thing again.
Oh, yeah.
My diaper is dirty! My diaper is dirty!
We're having this is a new experience.
I want a bottle! Ah!
It's simultaneously the best and worst content we've ever done.
Yeah, it is.
It depends on what opinion you're at. They'll let us know in the comments.
Okay, speaking of the best...
Someone you might say, I love it, I hate it.
yeah,
There you go.
I love
You
it.
can't please everyone. Hi, Curtis.
All right. Speaking of the best and worst things about human existence and society right now, AI. Let's see.
Totally.
Wow.
You know,
That is a clean.
will it kill us or give us better guitar tone? Maybe both. This is
Will
an
it kill us
interesting
by giving us better guitar tone?
If you gotta go, that's a good way.
Yeah.
Death by great guitar
That might
tone.
be it. Imagine if AI decides every alarm clock should sound like
Like this?
Like this.
That would be great. That's how you wake
and
up.
then if you hit snooze twice,
It goes.
yeah, there you go.
Okay, I'm
There you
up.
go.
I'm up. Wow.
Okay, so AI. Everyone's talking about AI. You know, everyone's into AI. What's AI gonna do? We got everything's AI now with guitar. You know, let me ask you a question: are we even gonna? I mean, when we like reach the singularity or something, when we just get to this AGI world where it's just doing everything for us, do we even need any of this stuff? Do we just tell the guitar, or I mean, do we just tell our AI like, "Hey, just give me
Give me a
give me the
Marshall.
sound of an old Marshall. Give me the sound of this," and it just knows it. It just
Or
knows
like,
the reference. Like,
Hey, make me sound like
make me sound like this person, that person.
Slash.
Like it dials up the tone for you.
Right.
Yeah, like
it knows what Guns N' Roses is and sounds like.
Yes. Yeah,
And
it's
then
listened
lets
to
you
it.
play it.
Yeah. And then it's like, here's also a backing track, or it's like whatever. It's like, just play, and we'll, you know what I mean? Where does this go?
That
Do we
will
all
take
just?
all the fun out of it. I'll tell you.
Wouldn't
what.
it?
The hunt for the tone.
Yeah,
You have
Like-
a sound in your head, and how do I achieve the sound in my head?
I think so.
That's fun.
Like,
Also-
I mean,
yeah.
is that going to ruin guitar? I mean, here's the broader question. Like you just said, is there something that's like lost when we have all this new AI tech from ToneX and Neural and Neural Amp Modeler, and we can just copy everything kind of perfectly? Is it like?
I don't know. I don't think we've reached the bottom of the well
No,
with like what
Do you
there
mean
is.
moving away from analog gear to like having all the amps available? Is that what you're?
yeah. There's just like something about like, I don't know, man. Do you know how long it took me a long time to get all those Fender amps and to like get them and listen to them and try them, and then wow, I experienced this one, then wow, I experienced this one, and now it's just like,
Yeah.
and it's like, it creates this sort of cheapening feeling.
Oh,
It's the
100%.
thing that Access does. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like, you know, people used to buy record Suze, right? And they would like wear it out. You'd replace the needle
Yeah.
on your thing.
physically wear away.
Yeah, and like you're listening through, is it the Billboard top? What is it? Again?
Oh, I did that before. Yeah, the top 500 albums of all time.
What are you
Rolling
doing
Stone.
now? Anything?
Now I'm doing my entire Spotify catalog alphabetically.
Wait, your
Any-
catalog? So
any
like
artist
anything
I've
you?
saved or follow
Oh,
or whatever.
okay, okay,
So there's
okay.
probably like,
So it's like if you-
800 artists.
So if you had one Foo Fighters album saved, you're going to listen to all.
I'm
Foo
going to do
Fighters,
their whole catalog.
catalog.
Yeah. It's,
Wow.
I started in 2020. It's not going quickly.
What?
Yeah. I know.
And
So-
you said you didn't you say you just listened to Green Day recently?
Yeah, I'm in the G's.
You're in the G's.
Yeah.
Wow.
Group Love. That's what I'm on today.
Group
Uh-huh.
Love
Yeah, ever heard of them?
sounds like something you shouldn't Google.
We definitely just got
Right.
demonetized.
Yeah, but you used to go buy records. Now I have every single recording available.
Yeah,
to
and
me.
like it's all just available, and it doesn't. It doesn't promote like valuing the music. You
Yeah.
don't have to go out and spend any money on it. You don't have to.
No, it's
I
definitely
mean, like Access is awesome
yeah.
because you
Yeah.
can do this, but it's not like, you know. I
get what
remember.
you're saying.
I remember going and buying. I walked down the street to Warehouse Music. Is that a thing?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. And I bought Sum 41, all filler, no killer. And we just
Nope.
listened.
It
and
was all
listened.
killer, no filler.
That's probably better. You don't want all
No,
filler.
no, it's ironic.
Oh,
It was all
backwards.
filler, no killer. That's why it was, because their first record was Half Hour of Power. That was like the record that broke them out. And then the second record they came out with was
All Filler-
all filler, no killer, which is funny because it's like they kind of had this EP that blew up, and then it's like you got to make a full length record, and it's like name the opposite of what you think it's gonna be, right?
My memory is that it was all killer, no filler.
Look it up because now I'm curious. Maybe I remember it wrong. I could be wrong.
I actually don't want to look it up. I like what you said.
It was all. Yeah, I thought it was like funny for the
This is
record.
so
It was all
exciting.
I
filler,
like
no
what you
killer.
said.
Yeah.
Someone in the comments.
Someone
is
go
raging.
look.
yeah,
Is
yeah.
the record called All Filler, No Killer, or All Killer, No Filler?
Yeah.
I think it was ironic. They're Canadian, so like. But anyway,
So you would walk down.
I didn't even like all the songs, but I kind of told myself I
They
did,
weren't all
and we
killer.
just listened to it and listened and listened
You
and listened.
paid money for it and owned
Yeah.
it. You
Right.
owned that, not
I
the
was
other
like,
one.
it was like I told my family, like on Friday, don't pick me up till 4:30. I'm gonna walk down with my buddy, and we're gonna go down to the Warehouse Music, and then we're gonna go to like this little drive-through coffee place. We don't have a car, so we're gonna walk up because we're wild. They could turn us away. And then,
Can I ask you guys a question?
yeah, please.
That's literally what we're here for.
When you listen to, and I know you're doing like a weird thing, but when you listen to music, do you listen? You're like, I want to listen to this album, or do you just like put everything on shuffle and like you just listen to whatever?
When I listen to music,
When you're like gonna listen to music,
I have
like in your-
children. They
in
haven't
your
left me alone
car-
in like 9 years. So I don't know when I was supposed to listen to music. I listen in my car, is what I'm trying to say. That's
It's
about
mostly
my own spot.
Karangbin.
Kruangbin is my jam. Kruangbin is
We
my
got in the car
jam
the other
right
day, and I
now.
was like, okay.
Dude, if you're not
is-
listening to Kruangbin right now,
Yeah.
people.
then you're very normal.
Yeah, well, no, listen. Kruangbin is like if you want to graduate from if you enjoy lo-fi, but you also are a musician and like the sound of instruments. Kruangbin is amazing.
Man,
It's pretty good.
you showed me
good.
some stuff and I couldn't get on board with it. I tried.
Kruangbin is.
Also, we had
Yeah,
a
you didn't
really
like
hard
it.
time spelling it and finding it.
Well, I knew how to say it. Kruangbin.
I know, but
I want to answer your question by saying this is one of the reasons I'm doing this. Is because it was frustrating getting in the car going like, what do I want to play today out of the 19,000 options I could type in today?
Right.
I needed some sort of structure. Like I want boundaries and I want to know what's happening. And so I get in my car. It's
that's
like,
interesting.
I pull out Spotify. I know exactly where to go. I don't have to think, what am I in the mood for today? I stopped. I didn't like asking myself that question. Another answer to your question is before Spotify, I would get in the car, put the visor down.
Yeah.
And that's what I could listen to.
well,
I had
but this
20
is my
CDs.
this is my point
Yeah.
though, is that kids nowadays are growing up where that's not a thing, and
the whole world.
like both my kids.
What's not a thing? Listening to an album?
listening to you put in a CD
Yeah.
and it's very cumbersome to just listen to one song and then change it.
Right.
And then there was like CD changers and you could put them all in shuffle and all of that stuff, and that was like a novelty.
Remember those ones you put in your trunk?
That's what I mean. Like
Yeah, and you'd like-
your buddy would be like, "Oh, hold
control
on,"
it.
and you have to pull over and
Hang
like,
on.
switch
Yeah.
the CD.
big
Oh, they
leather
don't even
binder
know.
with all
Did
the
you also
pages.
keep all your CDs in a PacSun CD case?
Probably.
PacSun used to sell a bunch of CD books.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And me and all my friends had PacSun.
When I was
I don't know who made better.
touring, that's like we all had our own CD books.
It was like your day to like pick the music.
Yeah, when you were driving, you got to pick the
That's
music.
that's sick.
Yeah.
This is
But-
the classic problem of having too many options.
many options.
Means you're actually not. There's a creative like limit to like.
Right.
I can't listen to the whole world right now, but I can't listen to my favorites.
But the way my kids listen to music bothers me because they just skip around and like
Yeah.
they'll say like, hey, play this one thing, and then they'll listen to it and they'll be like, it's not even over yet, and they're like, oh, can you play this?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, no, can't we like listen to what this artist was like, we should do this song first and then it
Yes.
should transition to
like an experience.
They put
Yeah.
hopefully they put some effort into like the order of these things.
albums are better than playlists.
I think so.
Listen to albums again.
The way I typically
Well
listen to
said,
music is
Suze.
like the way I typically listen to music is like right now, like Intervals just came out with a new album. So I'm like just listening to that. I'll listen to it for like the next couple weeks.
You know what I do that I
So will I in 6 months.
yeah, right. In 2026, Suze will get to intervals.
Okay, get to I.
You know what I do is if I just think of a song I want to hear, I look up the song and then immediately look on Spotify in my car. I look at the album artwork and then I click on albums from that artist and I go find that album. And then I listen to the song on that album and then I just let it play through the album.
There you go.
Because I want to hear it in context. I do that with every single song.
I think that's
there's
like
a song, I think.
that's like something left over from the way we grew up.
It
listening
is.
to
Totally.
music.
It is.
Yes.
And
It's
it's just-
it's our ankle sock. You know? The young kids, they're not into the ankle socks anymore. You notice this? They're into larger socks, longer socks. And it's us. It's the Gen Z and the Gen Alpha. They're like, ankle socks are like flower print on your mom's curtains. Like, they're not doing that. You know?
Lame and old.
Yeah, there's like a boomer.
Did they get shorter before they got longer? Like no-show socks or like
That was still, I think, us.
that was still our thing.
I think
not
so.
socks.
Not no
Yeah.
Yeah, the long ones. That's a
Yeah, men's socks got so low, those no-show socks. At one point, I was like, this isn't even a sock anymore. It's like a small ballet slipper. And I'm supposed, it's like, why am I even wearing anything?
right.
You know?
The shoe's actually hitting your heel. Like,
Yeah.
you can actually feel it.
Yeah, just don't wear anything.
yeah.
The worst.
Yeah.
The worst.
Dude, I'm going to die in my ankle socks. You can tell Gen
It's
Alpha
too late
and
to
Gen
change.
Z. Screw you.
I own
Screw
too
you.
many of them.
I'm gonna die.
I'm going to die in my ankle socks, you know?
I
Here
just
lies,
don't-
and it's going to say, here lies HW in his ankle socks.
What I don't
Deal
like
with
about
it.
ankle socks is
Yeah.
when they start slipping down your heel and then they end up halfway down your foot.
Well, they don't need to be that short that they go off.
No,
the-
that for some reason they don't stay
they
on
just
my
go.
feet very well.
Maybe time for a new pair. Treat yourself.
Yeah.
They are new.
Uh-oh.
They're new because I never wore them because that happens.
You need some of those old school, which our generation didn't wear a lot of. It's the thing that holds your sock up that you like attach around your calf
gosh.
and it reaches down. It's like the suspenders for your.
Speaking
for
of
your formal
generations,
socks.
that was
That's-
our
that's way
grandmother's
out there.
curtains.
I think
yeah.
that's like
Yeah.
couple.
I don't know if they
before us.
didn't have elastic, or what. I would never could understand.
I think
how
I think they didn't. They must not have.
most people's calf is narrower. The widest part of their calf is wider than their knee. Okay? This happens whether you're in shape or not. I could never understand how you couldn't just pull a sock up high enough. It's like they didn't make dress socks high enough to go on the spot in your body that they would naturally stay up. They always left it where the dress sock would end at the widest part of your leg and it would squeeze, creating this problem where it would fall down. And then they invented this suspender to go along with it. It doesn't make any. It
Guitar
never made.
friends,
Never
where
made
you
any
get
sense
your,
to me.
Right.
Never
we
made
are
any
talking
sense.
about AI and talking
Yeah.
about amps.
Oh yeah,
You know, like-
I forgot about that.
Well, which is
Thank
so
you.
anyway.
Well, I pulled a John.
Yeah, there we go.
John 2.
Let my epitaph be: Here lies HW in his ankle socks. Listen to an album.
I
There you
think,
go.
man, I don't think that AI should. Like, I don't know. I don't think that AI will be able to very soon just replicate anything that it hears. On
Like it'll just has the reference forever. Like it'll just
It's like because the only references that it will have is like like albums, right? That's what we're saying, right? Like AI knows about all of the Guns N' Roses
yeah.
stuff, and so you can be like, "Hey, make me sound like Slash."
But you've seen those AIs where you put in the track and it separates all the tracks out. It creates stems. They're a little phasey still, but
Right.
Even Logic does it now. That's
Yeah.
the new update.
I didn't even realize Logic did it now.
AI.
And are they still a little phasey?
They sound pretty good.
Yeah. Sometimes I
Oh,
notice
they
like
are.
you can hear it when you do it like on the vocals. You get some you get to.
Yeah.
But
I don't
you know
like this.
it doesn't matter.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. I think of it like electric cars versus gas cars, though.
Yeah.
Because electric cars have, or actually, I think of it like mass electric transportation, right? Like imagine the city just provides
Right.
transportation to everyone. You know what I mean?
You just get on and
yeah, and you just like get on it, and it's like that.
Jeez,
that
move to Europe, John.
yeah,
all right?
exactly. Yeah, something like that, right? Where it was like that would have benefits, right? A bunch of benefits. Everyone
Right.
could just get where they needed to go. You wouldn't have to, whatever.
Yeah.
But like I can remember someone saying this on a podcast one time, and he was like, this would be so great because it would have all these benefits or whatever. And the other guy was like, "Are you forgetting that people just like driving cars?"
Yeah. Have you ever seen Fast and Furious?
Yeah, like some people just really love
1, 2, or 3, or 4.
And so it's like, one of the reasons, and I've said this actually for years, like one of the reasons I love working with you and what you're doing is because I love tube amps.
Right.
Right? It's like you get to hear these tube amps.
Yeah.
You get to hear the amps. And so I feel like if we do get to a point where AI is just like has everything, it would be kind of a sad thing. It will cheapen it.
Yeah.
Well, maybe the sounds get cheapened and then that actually raises the value of the tube amp even more.
What do you
right?
think it does to players that they can't like I think one negative effect having just modelers and everything on everything there all the time like creates is that if an amp makes you work for any sort of sound, you don't have any incentive to sort of explore what the amp could do, maybe at more extreme settings or at more creative applications. For instance, would we ever have really gotten amazing Marshall cleans if the players who were known for Marshall cleans could have just as easily, because they weren't physical amps, just said, I'll take a Marshall for my drive and I'll take a Fender I'll take a Twin Reverb for my clean. Like, you know what I mean? Would we ever have gotten, because like if you, like Tom Bukovac will say the 68 Super Bass, Marshall Plexi Super Bass is the best amp ever. And it has the best clean sound.
Yeah.
And he'll say, this is better than a Fender. I use this on all these records where you'd think it's a Fender. But you have to, when you play that amp, you gotta like turn the bass all the way to 0. You're like turning, like depending on the channel, you're turning the presence all the way down or all the way up, right? Like we've kind of experienced this on amps and on the Fractal. Like it has really accurate models, like, you know, which some people may pull up like a Fractal model or even like a Helix model to degrees like this. And, you know, it's like, why is it so dark? And it's like, the amp was just ridiculously dark. You put the treble and the presence on 10 and you're like, it's still dark. And it's like, yeah, they just did it that way. And then the bright channel, like my ProPlex 68, the bright channel, all these amps, the 70s ones, you put the presence on 0 on the bright channel, it's still bright and present. It's not dark at all. You know, you got to roll the guitar down. But that creates like, you know, it creates those idiosyncrasies of the amp. If you don't have to deal with them, you won't. And I wonder if that has a real trouble with the creative process. Like another example of that is like reggae music developed from these people in like the Bahamas and stuff. They were listening to really weak radio signals. And apparently when they would listen, because the signal would be so weak and like distorted, it was difficult for them to tell what was the bass drum and what was the snare. And sometimes like some of the lower frequencies would be like gone. So I guess I don't really quite understand this, but I heard a reggae drummer say that's why reggae drummers, that's why we hit the snare on the this and this beat, because rock and roll did it on the this and this beat. He's like, but we couldn't hear it. So like, he's like, so when we would listen to that music, we thought it was like, you couldn't tell if it was a snare or what. And I was like, that's really interesting. I wish I could explain that better, but it was a cool like example. He's like, that's why you'll hear reggae hit on a certain beat.
Right.
We couldn't, you know.
So you're saying when there's no tube amps, because that's the thing that I love about tube amps, and what you're saying here is that every single one of them is unique.
Yeah.
And even, you know, two different kinds of Marshalls or two variations of the same Marshall amp are going to be a little bit different.
Sure.
And that is fun and you can enjoy the process of getting to know an amp.
Yeah.
Whereas if it just sounds amazing and it sounds like itself, and if you know, turn the knob from 0 to 10 and not much happens, then it's kind of like, or there's no knobs at all because you just asked a computer to give you a sound, right? I feel like that's what's fun about guitar equipment. Pedals, amps, all of that is that they have knobs, right? That's what's fun about it, because you're like, what happens if you do that?
Yeah.
Right?
I don't feel like I should go further, but what if I go all the way?
Yeah, what if
you
I
know?
go all the way? You know, and I don't know.
Yeah, I keep thinking too, like, there's this like continuum over here between really knowing your limited gear, knowing it well and intimately, and how to get the most out of it, versus having all the gear in the world and just cycling through. I don't know what this is. Those are totally opposite spectrums. And most people exist somewhere like nowadays, like in the middle, where they have modeling, they might own one amp or something like that, you know? And I think there's something lost when it comes to. I find this like making tracks or songwriting, like any like limitation I have or like boundary actually helps the creative process. Like this has been, known for years, so that it's like, yeah, if you have too many choices, what is that called?
The paradox
Option
of choice.
paralysis.
Option paralysis.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just looking at this big list of things, and I've always done this with profiles, and always done this even on Tonex, just making little folders. These are the ones that are my favorite. And I want it to have 20 or less in it, not 10,000.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like every time I make a track and want to go like play guitar, it's like I don't have to look at this big list. It's like I only own about 20, 25 pedals. And so it's the same thing. It's like, which delay do I want? I've got 3 to choose from. I'll take the timeline. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like you're curating the sounds you want to play, and there's a real need to do that when the options in front of you are endless.
Oh,
you have
yeah.
to like curate which ones you want.
And I'll see people say like, I spent the first 30 minutes of my hour today just picking what sound I wanted and not
Right.
playing the guitar.
Right.
And
What-
that
That's
didn't
why I play the
happen.
same sounds every weekend at my church.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
change it, which is crazy because
Right.
for how many years have I been working with a new amp every week?
Yeah.
Right.
And I hardly ever change it.
And there's a hobbyist side to what we do as well. Like there's just like the curiosity of like, it's kind of fun to play 30 minutes of just changing sounds. It's like, what does this one
Sure.
do? What does this one do? Oh,
Sure,
that's cool. I've
for
never heard
sure.
that. But it's not the same as making music and being creative and playing the guitar. Like that's why we all got
Yeah.
into this.
Right.
And so I think it can easily be lost when we get into the hobbyist side of just like, oh, that's interesting. I'm curious about this. Oh, my day's done. Put the guitar down. You know?
I mean, also like all of these tones are meant to be played in a band.
yeah.
Like they're meant to be
Right.
part
That's the
of
ultimate goal.
a bigger thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like as guitar players, it is fun to just jam out on, the guitar by itself.
Yeah. I think
But-
it'll be crazy if AI gets to the point that we say, hey, whatever assistant, can you just pull up like Slash's guitar sound? You won't even know it's a Marshall.
right.
You know?
Totally.
And maybe you're playing on something you won't even know it's a Les Paul. Like you're just playing a guitar, but you're asking it to sound like a Les Paul through this, and it like knows that. It just
Yeah.
gives you the sound back that
Right.
that it knows you want. And
I mean, look,
Right.
there are people. I watch a lot of guys on YouTube in like the metal genre, and there's a few of the guys that I listen to that are very well known and successful and whatever. Have never owned a tube amp, don't play through tube
We're
amps.
getting to that point for sure. Yeah.
And
We're
all they've
very
ever
much at
and
that
they
point.
learned on plugins.
Yeah.
And they've only ever owned plugins, and look, there's nothing bad about that. It's just a new shift in how we're going about this.
Yeah, I think too what you were saying about like never having those CD books or like whatever. We're in this position where we are in both worlds.
Right.
Where we made the transition from this to this and we're using technology sort of just to mimic how it used to be. Like why do I make myself only have 15 amps? Because that's how I used to. I only want a couple options,
Yeah.
And so now it's like we're going to get to that point where the majority of guitar players were never in this other world where in 20, 30 years, it's like, yeah, all of them grew up playing modelers and digital gear. And like you said, that's not bad. Like they can still get a good sound on their
Yeah.
guitar
Oh,
and
for
enjoy
sure.
playing the guitar. We're sort of looking at it going, but let's not lose the beauty of what we had in the past. Once that's kind of dialed out of the culture, bye-bye, like that's not coming back.
Well, and like to your point of constraints being a good thing. If you only have one amp and that's it, then you got to learn how to like express yourself in new ways
Yeah.
with the same gear. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And you
Yeah.
come up with new techniques
Yeah.
or whatever, and new ways of making your guitar sound new and exciting. And I don't know. It is an interesting time. Thankfully, there's still lots of amps, lots of tube amps.
There's lots of amps in this
there's definitely,
room.
and there's always
So
going to be
many.
amps. I think because of the love of guitar, like there's always going to be tube amps to accompany guitars,
Right.
Right, and there's always a tube amp is always going to be a type of amp. Just like I don't think we're going to get ever to the point where, forever is a long time. I shouldn't say forever, but I don't think there's any time in my lifetime or my kid's lifetime or my grandkids' lifetime that we're going to get rid of the internal combustion engine. You know what I mean?
Right.
We're going to have a lot of electric cars out there. There's going to be a lot of machines we run off these other engines.
For sure.
You know, we're going to do it with like trains are probably going to stay like that. We're going to do it with stuff that just needs a lot of torque because it's just really good at that.
It's really good at-
It's really good at providing a lot of torque for a long period of time.
Right.
If you have the fuel source right there and you can store a lot of liquid fuel or coal like they do in trains, and it's difficult to do that with electricity.
Right.
So I mean, you know, I think your big trucks, you know, you're going to see electric semis going by. You're going to see electric cars going by. It might even become the majority of the market, but you're going to get all sorts of places where people are going to have trucks that have big engines.
Right.
And the bigger the truck, the more likely it's not going to be electric. And that's just how it's going to be. And I think we're always going to have tube amps, you know, and there's always going to be people who go like, what? Just like right now, we have tube stereo hi-fi amps. They still make them.
Right.
You can go buy them. You know?
Yeah.
And if you are someone who's like, I gotta listen to music in this way, you know, then that's what you do. But it's not like you need them or anyone. You gotta be like an aficionado to have them.
And the tube amp, being as loud as it is, still serves a function. You know what I mean? Like if you need to be loud, that's the tool you use.
Yeah.
You know, it's purposely, it's built for that on purpose, right? And it's really hard to replicate that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're using
Or
in-ears,
big cabs. I mean, like you're saying, tube amp. We still want 4x12 cabs. We still want
Yeah.
to push a lot of air, with
Yeah.
even with the digital gear.
totally.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's
I would love to see a graph of like, you know, all the people before, like in the 80s, like how many of or what percentage of guitar players owned a tube amp? It's like 100% of them.
Oh yeah.
You know, like and in the 90s and then 2000s and now today, it's like what percentage of guitar players now?
Right.
And that includes a lot of 18, 19, 20-year-olds. Mm-hmm. That is going down. Like I know a ton of young guys that have never owned tube amps. And so in 20 years, I think it's actually, we'll be more in the minority of saying like, oh yeah, we grew up cranking amps and playing it and they would break and you have to fix them. I mean, I think that's going downward.
Yeah. Yeah.
But just the number of, I would also like to see a graph of the number of options available to people over time too.
Yeah.
It's like it's just skyrocketing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
You know?
we were getting stuff obviously like in the late '90s. We were getting our first digital gear, you know,
Yeah.
like the first Line 6 AX12 or whatever was coming out. That was probably somewhere in the late '90s there.
I mean, I had a HD 500 head.
Yeah.
in,
When did the Pod come out? That's a good question.
I don't know. I had that in
Because there,
2000.
yeah,
I
the
had
Johnson
HD 500
J
in
Station was
2000.
out. Yeah, the Johnson J Station was in the late
24 years
'90s.
ago.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm so old.
Yeah. I mean, you can be. I mean, look, there's kids. Oh my gosh, the Pod is older than them.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Way older.
and they're like playing guitar.
Yeah.
Wow, that's wild.
I hate it when we were at lunch a couple weeks ago, and they like behind the bar they had like the we card you if you're. It was like they had. I was like, 2003.
2003.
I was like,
And you know, you'll hear.
like I remember what I did in
You'll
2003.
hear waiters
Haven't
and
been
waitresses
carded in
say,
a long time.
"Dude, listen." You'll hear waiters and waitresses say, because this just happened. As soon as they see the 19, they don't look at anything else. Because if you see a 19, you're good.
You're good.
It's only if you see 2000 that you have to actually look at it and make sure it's
The
passed.
last numbers.
Yeah. Basically, we can tell by the century, right? Isn't that wild?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah,
always
those
be
are the
the
last
case.
century
Yeah.
people.
Wow.
Yeah, those are the 20th
My
century
kids
people.
did ask me recently if when I was like, Dad, when you were growing up, did they have color TVs yet? They asked me that.
I know, isn't that wild?
Wow.
My
I
kids
I was like,
ask
how?
me crazy
what
stuff.
do you
Yeah,
think happened?
Yeah.
I know. My kids ask me.
Let's name some other world events. Was I alive during that
Totally. It
also?
was like, geez, how old do you think I am?
Yeah, I know. Were their color TVs? But it's funny because I mean they hear stories of probably about their grandparents not having this or not having that. Because I tell my kids stories about their great grandparents because my grandmother would tell me a story where it's like she really wanted to babysit for this family in the neighborhood because they had a TV when nobody had a TV. Like you heard about TVs and they had one TV maybe at Macy's.
Right.
And you couldn't get near it or touch it. It was like there's a rope in front of it. But you could like order one of these and they would come to your house and install it, and a man would come and he'd leave you an instructional booklet and all this stuff. Like it was a piece of equipment, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And she was like, if you babysat the kids, you could put them to bed And then
watch TV.
you might
You
be able
have
to
access.
might be able to watch 15, 30 minutes of TV.
Wow.
You know, and in those days there were 3 channels. You know, it's
Right.
like, right?
No option paralysis.
No.
Just
I don't know,
speaking of Netflix and Hulu.
They probably thought there was. They're like, how do I choose between all three? Between
Yeah.
three.
It's all a matter
And the
of
early
perspective.
stations were radio stations that had started television, brother. NBC, CBS,
Yeah.
like what, you know, ABC.
The other day, my son asked me, he's like, would you go a full year without using your iPhone for $1 million?
Oh,
I was like,
absolutely.
yes. I want to be clear, yes. But also, do you think that's hard to do? You know, I was like, you're alive at a time where like we all did that.
Right.
Like we,
Right.
you know, when
We
I was
didn't
your
have it.
age, so, you know, and he was
Right.
like, really? Like, it just didn't dawn on him. Like, everyone's always had these. Would you give it up for,
Right.
it's like, no, you're living in this like privileged era where like that's even a question. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
I would,
Dude,
give it-
I'd for
I would
sure
give
do
it up
that.
for a lot less than that.
how about unlimited Taco Bell?
Yeah,
Like
I would give up my iPhone for unlimited.
Right.
Taco Bell.
My
Yeah.
first thought was,
I would weigh 1,000 pounds.
You wouldn't be healthy.
I would not be healthy.
No.
my first thought was, oh, I don't think I could do Tone Junkie without my phone. But then I thought, if someone was giving me $1 million a year, I could do everything on my computer.
Well, that was my question. I said, I need my computer for work. Can I use my computer? He goes, oh, yeah. I was like, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, I'm into this.
Why
you
not?
know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was in response to me saying he couldn't play games on the iPhone. He's like, for how long? He's like, well, how long do you use it?
Can I have a phone with text messaging, like just an old flip phone that can receive a text
No, that's a
message?
good question. I didn't ask him.
You got to receive text message because everything now has that SMS two-factor authentication.
Yeah.
You'll be locked out of the world. I mean, you won't be able to get into your bank. You won't be able to do
Right.
anything.
What about
Eventually,
iMessage on the...
I know. iMessage on your
Mac.
on your Mac. Though.
it's got to go to a phone number, though. I mean, a lot of them have email, but I mean, I guess if you
What if
convert
you had
them
a
all-
phone, but it's just like in a drawer? You can't look at it. For $1 million.
can I still make a phone call if I'm out? Like I need
Only
a phone
on your
call?
Mac. Like, only on FaceTime.
I can't even have a flip phone, like a dumb flip phone. This is getting harder.
It's getting harder. Maybe at a point.
I would maybe do it.
do a dumb phone.
I mean, if we could just get a dumb phone, I'd be like,
Yeah.
yeah, I do this for sure.
I would-
Just that I could
I've
just
actually,
call.
I've actually thought about getting a dumb phone, like a light phone.
Would you
Have you
keep
seen those?
both, or would you lose the iPhone?
I don't know. I was thinking about getting rid of it.
The iPhone,
Yeah.
John.
Have you
you're
ever
not gonna-
seen these ads?
You're not going to get rid of
I'm
your
not going
iPhone.
to.
I
That's
know
why I
you're
haven't
not.
done
It's
it,
just
but
one
I
of
was
these things
thinking
where,
about it.
where we
I
think
thought
like
about it.
I'm like,
it's almost like, hey, do you think we should move out and like get like 12 acres somewhere and
it's
like get
more
our own
like-
solar and
it's
raise
more,
bees?
It's more like my daughter a couple weeks ago was like, "Can we watch commercials from the '90s?" And I was like, "Yes."
That's all I ever want to do.
And then I was like sitting there, just like basically in tears for
Yeah.
the '90s. I was like, I should get rid of my phone. That was the thought process.
Have you
Like-
seen those ads for the apps that will like brick your phone for you? Like it's like a pay attention app kind of thing, and it will like turn off all of your
No,
stuff basically. Yeah,
I
was
haven't
like,
seen that.
yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think that the whole ad's in black and white, and it's like I think it might be called Brick or something like that. And it's basically like this you opt in, but it basically puts your phone into like being a dumb phone. There's nothing good. You can't get any of the stuff
For like
on
a
it.
certain amount of time.
Yeah, you have to put in a password and then ask you, "Are you all done with your work?" Like it's all this stuff. It's very
wow.
interesting. Yeah,
It's like it's your mom.
yeah, and it's like people have that little self control that they have to have it. The phone actually unavailable to them.
I don't know. I might need that.
Yeah, it is
Might
interesting.
be
Though.
helpful.
Wow.
Can I play Snake? It'd be great if you could play Snake on it.
Oh, they should add
Oh,
like
yeah.
old games in. Yeah,
Yeah.
while it's brick.
I just saw-
Nokia should make an app that just turns your iPhone into the old Nokia phone.
That would be
Instead
really
of having
cool.
to go buy
but you know
one.
what? I
Wouldn't that
think
be
I just
great?
saw a Samsung TV recently, and it had the Snake game on it.
Really?
Yeah, and you could play it with the remote.
Nice.
So they might have the
Dude, Snake was so easy until all of a sudden it wasn't. It got so hard. Like, you know what I mean? Just cruising around, like, oh, I've got plenty of room to turn.
Do you remember?
Until all of a sudden it wasn't.
Do you remember in those early cell phone days, you could spend money or you could like make your own ringtones were a big deal.
Oh,
and also
yeah.
remember the face plates that you could
Yes.
change the color of those free Nokia phones.
I was
interesting.
just thinking the little kiosks in the mall that had all the faceplate,
Yeah.
like the little plastic.
It's like, oh, you got flowers on yours. Yours is red.
Right.
Yours is red.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
It was like a wallpaper, but it was physically on the front of
yeah,
your phone.
because you couldn't. And dude, that was like the first time people started leaving their phones on. Because I remember before that, my grandparents had gotten like my aunt and them like a phone for emergencies.
Oh, they would just leave it off.
But you would turn it off because the phones, you would flip it, power it on, and all you had was a little. You could see like 10 numbers.
Right.
That what you had dialed, you could
Yeah,
see. So you
right.
go 1, blah 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 blah, and you could see the number. And then you hit call, and then it would just start ringing. I mean, it functioned like a cordless phone.
Right.
You could take it with you, and you would pull the antenna up.
Yeah.
And everyone had a little case for it, but not like it didn't come with a case. It was just like some thing that you'd put your keys or your wallet in, or like some little bag, And then they would just turn it right off. So they never received a call. It was like an emergency phone for making calls.
I remember my dad had like the Zach Morris cell phone.
I think my first one was a flip out one with the antenna, and it was like green on darker green. Like that was how you saw the text,
Right.
Like it was no internet. That came later, where it was like really slow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, super slow.
Well, and then I remember when cell phones first came out, they had unlimited text messaging.
They did.
But no one used it because it was so
there was
terrible
no-
to use.
Yeah.
And then
T9,
yeah, T9. Oh, dude.
like you have to be like.
I
eight.
always laugh with my wife. She was so fast at typing at that.
Really?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, fine.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like a hidden talent. She could do it like not even looking at the phone.
Yes.
Wow.
They would learn to do that. Yeah.
You get good at
Yeah.
whatever you
Whatever you're doing.
repeat a bunch of
You get
times.
good.
That's
Do you know
crazy.
in that like the debut Destiny's Child video, like the music video, she pulls out Kelly Rowland pulls out her Motorola two-way page, and it's an Excel spreadsheet, and she like writes in the message in an Excel spreadsheet. Like, I guess they didn't, I don't know if they didn't know how to do it. Like no one on the set knew, but they just opened up the Excel and then they typed something in. You can go look it up. It's a very clear shot. It's very clearly
That's so
the
great.
Excel like little app that was in those.
I see. Were they trying to fool you? Like this is like what it looks like.
I don't know. It wasn't the messaging.
not- yeah.
I don't think anyone knew. No, nobody had them.
No fact check.
This was
Yeah.
in there. Jay-Z was rapping about having like, a Lambo and a Motorola two-way page. These were
Right.
like the most lofty of goals. Like,
Right.
it was up there with like private jet.
Right.
And she had one in the video because it was like so cool. No one had one. No one knew how to use one.
Right.
Dang.
We were
I should go back to having a pager. If you want to talk to me, just page me.
No one would know how. We wouldn't know
I'll
what to
call
do.
you. I'll call you when I get
Because it
when I
like
have time.
beeps, right? And then you've got to enter the number that
Yeah,
you
then-
want them to call back.
Yeah.
I don't think people would even know. They would have to be like, "Hello, you have just called an old-fashioned
I'll
pager.
get the phone out.
This is where, yeah.
We
Hello.
talked that long about a
Hang
phone
on.
that didn't plug that in.
Hang on.
Think about that. That might be the most shocking thing in the whole episode.
Hello, you've reached an old-fashioned pager. Listen closely. You're gonna have to actually at this beep. You're gonna actually have to dial in a sequence of numbers that you would like shown on the other person's pager. Now, think about this. You're going to be able to enter a callback number, not necessarily the one you're calling from, but you also could enter some coded message, like pager code.
Oh yeah.
And this is a code where kids, seemingly, have just looked at some letters and said, what number most looks like this letter? And then they've assigned letters to numbers. Here's the only problem. There's only 9 numbers, and there's 26 letters.
Oh wow.
That's at least.
Is there 26 letters in our alphabet?
there
Yes, in our alphabet.
If you're Spanish, you got the thing above the end. You got
Yeah.
extras.
I
You
can't
know?
speak for other languages. but-
So, yeah,
3 and E. I mean that they go together, right?
3 and
We're-
E
we're
go
doing
together,
that, yeah.
but 8 was an H. It was an A.
no, 4 was the H.
4 was the H. See? Already. Then you get the 7s. Those are upside down L's,
How
right?
would you spell help? Is it H?
It was 4,
4,
3, 7, 8, I think. Was P 8? Or was that also 4? No. P was 8. A lot of
9.
stuff was 8.
9?
9. Was it 9? A backwards
9 is a
P?
P? Or a
Yeah, that'd be
6?
it. But here's the
I would
problem.
be
6
lost.
would be a G.
Here was the problem, Zeus. If you said help, no one knew what to do next. They didn't know how to help you.
Help
'Cause
in
you
what way?
There was no
They didn't
callback
even-
number.
And, yeah, they didn't know who was sending them help. There
didn't-
wasn't like you received a message from this person. It was just the message.
No, I think you could see the
Someone
number,
needs
right?
help.
Someone needs help. Hello, operator. Someone needs help.
Right.
We'll
Couldn't
get
they send you
we'll
help
get a detective right
and then
on
send
it.
you their number right after.
I
it,
think
you
the
know?
numbers would show up.
No, I had a pager.
But I had a Motorola pager. I thought the numbers would show up.
Okay, so did you have the one that was like you viewed it on its side, or did you just have the one that was just a screen with numbers on it? Did you have one where people could type messages?
No. No, I didn't have that. But it was.
So
I didn't have that.
it would beep, and you would look at it, and it would just be the number.
And it was on top of the thing. You know, it's just like
Yes.
as you look down.
Yes.
It was like there was a
Yes,
clip.
that's right. It was just the
it was
number.
just the number.
I didn't have one. My dad had one.
Because my dad would drop me off at a place, and he would say, "When I'm leaving the house to come pick you up,
Right.
I'm going to page you with a bunch of sevens." That's what he would say.
Wow.
And I would say, "Okay."
Right. He didn't bother to learn
I
pager
love the
code.
simplicity.
Yeah. So he would
Yeah.
call my pager, and he would just type in a bunch of sevens, and then he would leave the house.
Do you guys, you know what was
The
wild?
bare minimum of getting a hold of you.
The bare minimum. Here's what's
He's
crazy.
a smart guy.
We used to make plans with each other. Like, this is something we never do. We used to make plans with each other. And I'd be like, Suze, do you want to meet at this, like, today's Wednesday. Hey, do you want to go to lunch on Friday? And you'd be like, yeah. And I'd be like, okay, let's meet at 12 at Condado Taco, right? I would just show up and hope that you remember.
Totally.
Wow.
There was no like
There was no way to
reconfirming.
call you.
Right.
There was no way. I could call you before and confirm, like, hey, I just
At
want to, hey,
home,
tomorrow
yeah,
morning
at
we're
home.
going, right? Or tomorrow we're going.
Right,
But I have
right.
to, like, get you in the evening.
Yeah.
And it'd be like, oh, he didn't answer his answering machine, right? I left him a message, right? And, but I would just, like, hope you showed up. I remember we would make, but as a kid, you don't really have access to your phone. You know, you could, like, pick up the phone and use it, but, you know, you're just like, hey, I'll be there. I'll tell my parents to, like, meet me there. You're like, meet me there. We're going to be there.
Right.
You know, and then you'd, like, your parents would just trust you. You'd, like, show up and look for people. Oh, they're there. Wow. It worked out.
Like every meeting is sort of like a relief. Oh, good.
Right.
Yeah.
You showed up.
Now, if someone's, like, 4 minutes late, right, don't you text them? Or you know you can text them. Hey, where are you?
I don't need to. A lot of there's some friends of mine that we share each other's location. So
See,
if I show
So
up,
now you know, yeah.
if I show up, I just see where he's at.
Yeah.
Oh, he's not here yet.
That's
oh,
true friendship.
he's on the way.
Yeah.
It really is.
You guys were doing that at NAM a bit, and that's not something I do. It felt a little intrusive. I didn't like it, but
Well,
I
NAMM,
did it.
we're
But
all
did you
kinda
notice I only
there.
did it for the hour?
Yeah.
Like, you'd, like, share your location all day with me. It'd be like, John has shared his location all day. I'd be like, all right, how about an hour? I'm on my way.
It's like commitment
But
problem.
once-
I would have no problem sharing my location
I-
indefinitely with you.
Once I see you, and then I might go off to a hot dog stand. I might go to this.
You don't
booth.
want us to know about the hot dogs.
It's funny. Here's what's funny.
It's embarrassing. I, get
mean,
it.
in his defense, we judge him very hard for his hot dog
yeah,
addiction.
that's true.
NAM is actually where I think I would like to know where you guys are and where I am. But
Right.
the reception was so bad you couldn't really tell. It's it's like, oh, they're at the convention center, so am I.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Or Del Taco. Those
Yeah.
are the two options.
We were on Del Taco a lot.
my wife can always see my car, and in my pack I carry an Apple tracker thing.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and it's actually on her account because I lose my pack sometimes, so then she can see where it is. So she can always see where my car is. So it's not like I care if people know where I am. It's just weird. Like, here I am, and then I, like, open the app and it's like, you're here, I'm here, right? And I'm like, I might stop and get wings or something. You know what I mean? I don't want you. You don't need to know where I stop on the way back from this.
So you're the opposite of this. You want people to know you're getting wings, so we could talk about it.
Yeah, I'm like,
Hey, I saw
hey,
you were
check
at
me
Wings.
out. I'm getting wings.
It's just like it's like, so you're at home, or it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, what bothers me too, I don't know if you guys feel this way, but I actually, okay, how many unread texts and stuff do you have on your phone?
No, this is a whole conversation.
Oh my gosh, we're jumping.
Can
into
I
this.
guess?
But you guys tell me first. Do you have yours?
I don't. Need
I
to
haven't looked at my phone for the last hour and a half, but I think
just the last hour and
I
a
think
half.
it's 0 on everything.
Okay, it's 0.
Email
You
email
keep it
is
at
0. Yeah.
Right.
Text is 0.
Right. Right. During this podcast, whatever communication
Yes.
you got could have
It was
showed
0
up.
when we started.
So it's 0 when we started.
Yeah.
And yours?
Always 0.
Always 0.
Okay, I'm going to tell you what's on
How
my
do you
phone.
live otherwise?
I'm going to tell you what's on my phone right now.
Notifications?
First of all, I want to tell you this. I don't know why, but the Boss Tuner app has 39 notifications.
What does it have
And
to
I
say to
don't
you?
know. I don't know. Look, I'm covering the bottom while I show you the Tuner app. 39. Do you see that?
That perfectly describes what we're about
Are
to
they-
learn about the rest of your notifications.
Well, let
You're
me just
even
say
letting
this.
those go.
What did it say
Yeah.
this? What are the 39 things that Boss needed to communicate to me through this app?
It probably heard you playing in here and was like, "You sure you don't want to tune?"
I'm going to open it up. Oh, here's why.
Passive aggressive.
Yeah, you're right. I'm right here.
I'm right here.
The Boss to You Tuner app has sent me 39 news updates, none of which I asked for.
About the app?
Probably Boss news that it puts in the app because it's a free app,
I
you
see,
know.
yeah.
So they're
Marketing.
abusing it. Okay. 4 telephone calls. This is just what I have right now, and I think it resets sometimes, like when you redo your phone or whatever. You
Or
know, you get like,
update.
you update or whatever.
So telephone calls, I'm going to guess you have like in the hundreds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say like 50. I was already way off.
I've seen your phone before.
597.
There you go.
Good lands.
597.
I haven't received 597 phone calls in the last 3 years.
Let me just say, 597 is all my unlistened to voicemails.
How?
Oh my
Because of course,
gosh.
when it's a recent call, I look at recents and I go, "Who called me?" and then it clears it. Like it shows you who called you. If you look at a missed call, it won't say.
Who is doing that?
Wow.
I see Desi left me a message. I haven't listened to that. I need to. Someone from
You haven't listened to 600 of them.
I feel like voicemails don't matter after 24 hours. Well, we've probably talked since then.
100%. Go. I want you to go and listen to the oldest one.
The oldest one.
What if it's super important information?
It'll have to download it. It doesn't keep 600 on the
No,
phone.
of course not. I'm surprised that people don't get this mailbox is full.
I even delete all my listen to voicemails. I don't need those anymore.
You don't need them. I
just-
wish
it's
that
al-
they would just go away.
It's always
after
at
a
0.
day.
Yeah.
Okay, my oldest one.
What year is it from?
It's from 2016.
Okay.
I never listened to this. Hey, and it has the transcription.
Okay.
Hey, Jonathan, this is Luke Summerfield here with Home Technology as well as low voltage for
Here we go.
a house here. It was when I was building this house, and it was the guy who could install the alarm system.
And it was left at a time when there was no visual voicemail. Like
Yes,
you're reading
correct.
it now, you couldn't have even done it when he left it.
Totally.
Correct.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right.
Okay, emails.
Okay, emails.
I think it's really, really high. I can't really
He's got
remember.
hundreds of
Wait,
thousands.
first let's do text messages.
Okay, texts. I'm going to say...
These are texts. I just want to say these are texts that, they appear like this, and I don't click on them.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you click on them, it clears it. You can see all the recent texts. So these are texts that sometimes I just read a text with the little abbreviated
And you've
thing.
never
it appears.
clicked on them?
I never click on them.
Do you ever click on a text and then swipe to make it unread again, just so you remember to write back?
It wouldn't work on his phone.
I don't know, and I definitely
that
don't.
sometimes.
I definitely
Yeah,
don't have
because
that.
because then it goes from 0 to 1.
Yeah, remember to text
you
this
go.
person back.
When it goes from
I never do that.
Clearly.
I never do that because.
I'm going to say
I have
for
a number in
messages-
But
mind.
I don't have those receipts turned on. I'll never turn those on. And if iPhone makes me one day turn those on, I'll just
Nokia.
complain
What
about
receipts?
it on this podcast.
Red receipts.
The red receipts, like when you send a podcast
I
and you
don't-
look at it and then it says red.
Oh yeah, I don't.
Dude, people who have those on and then they don't text you back,
They're taunting you.
that's insane.
Hey, I want you to know I read this, but I also
Yeah.
didn't get back to you.
I
Wild.
don't.
Wild.
I don't. I only have that with my wife. I think.
I don't have it
Maybe
for
my
anybody.
maybe my
I don't do that
maybe my
stuff.
kids.
My kids have it.
I have for 0 people. All right, how many unread texts do you think I have? I have 597 telephone calls that have not
I'm gonna-
voicemails that have not.
I'm
been
gonna
listened
say it's an order of
I'm
magnitude
saying, yeah,
more.
orders of magnitude. My fully maximum guess is 3,761.
See, I was gonna say like almost 5,000. I was gonna say 5,000.
to. It's not as high. Texts are low commitment. 1,742.
Oh gosh, that's great.
That's
good.
still.
No, it's terrible.
Let me be clear. It's not as bad as I thought, but I still have no frame of reference for how a person could
Yeah.
acquire.
50 would stress me out. Like, there's 50 things
10
I haven't.
would stress me out.
Wow.
Okay, here's a big one. How
No,
many?
you
How
right.
many unread emails do you think I have?
So that's where
On
you
this
have
phone.
Tens of thousands.
hundreds of thousands.
You think hundreds?
Yes, I've seen it before.
I was
I
going
want to
to
say it's over 500,000.
I was going to. Oh my gosh. Wow, if that's true, I was way off. I was gonna say 25,000.
No, I gotta say $500,000.
Okay, there's a little technicality here because the number on my phone doesn't match the number on Gmail. This includes the amount of emails that come as promotional emails, which get sectioned out, like they get filtered out online.
So which device has a higher number?
That
The
one.
phone.
The phone does.
yeah.
Okay.
So I have 313,075.
Goodly.
There you go.
Wow.
I knew it was in the hundreds of thousands.
Calendar updates, I don't even know what these are. 32 in my inbox.
That's nothing compared
What's
to
my calendar inbox?
313,000.
Poker night.
All right, John, check yours. Let's. In the course of doing this podcast,
Well, if you notice, I've been checking my phone sometimes. Ooh. Mine says 40 right now. 40 text messages.
I have 2 texts and 2 emails, and no phone calls.
But to be fair, this is 3 different threads, and then my wife and my daughter.
Okay. Yeah, group threads will really get you. You know,
Group threads
when
will
they
get you,
go
man.
off and you come back and there's 150
For sure.
texts. Yeah.
Wait, I'm securing my poker seat.
We're all just like looking at our phones now on the podcast.
This is the most riveting podcast. Look, this is what I got to
gonna
say
get
to
back on
people
here then.
who are beating us up in the comments. This episode has maybe had the least amount of guitar talk. We talked about music
No,
for
I
some
think
of
we
it.
did great with guitar. I mean, we talked about. I'm counting John Mayer. I'm counting.
Well, no, I'm
all
saying
that.
that's mostly music.
Also, I
Yeah.
even played guitar on this one.
Yeah, we talked about
That's rare.
metal.
Was that guitar? I thought that was a baby yelling into the.
Oh boy.
I need my Deborah.
Do you, honest question, do you think that we could do an hour and a half of nothing but guitar? Like if we set our minds to it, could we? That's like self-control.
An hour and a half?
Yeah, an entire podcast of not a single sentence was off topic.
No.
I think we could. I
if
think
there was a challenge.
I think we could. I think and maybe we should give it to the people so that they would realize that that's not actually what they want.
It's true.
I think if we did an hour and a half of just guitar talk,
Right.
people would turn it off after
Go back to
15
the way it
minutes.
was,
They'd be like,
guys.
this is less
yeah,
entertaining.
interesting. There's not that much to
There's
say
not that much to
about,
talk
an hour and a
about.
half, guys.
Look, I mean, like the song says, this is.
He's been on the phone for 20 minutes.
Guitar Friends is on. Maybe you're in your car mowing your lawn. Just turn it up. Guitar Friends on. This is the greatest podcast about guitar. I believe that. As long as you don't count all the ones with big guests and are very intentional about having guitar-related conversations. If you get those out, this is the best guitar podcast on the internet for sure.
I do have another like funny thought that we could say like episode 35 is just about guitars, and it's like 3 minutes and 24 seconds. Like it's like, well, this has been episode 35.
That's it.
We're gonna do that.
That's the end.
In this
That should be-
episode, we're just going to talk about guitar for as long as that goes.
Yeah,
until one
first-
of us says something off subject, and then we're going to edit, and then it's just going to
And
end
then
the
the edit
subject.
ends.
It'll be like me tuning my guitar.
Yeah,
and then,
right, right.
As soon as I get it, it's like, all right, we're done.
Oh my gosh, that's the next episode. We
Yeah.
only talk about guitar.
Right.
We commit to only talking about guitar.
You would be tuning up your guitar, be like, you guys tried that new burrito place? Like,
Bow, 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 bow.
can you play the song as like a way to play us out again?
Do you want to?
Yeah, that was
It
real
really
good.
is good.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, you got to drag it all the way over there.
Oh no,
Let's
I
see
think
how-
I could do it.
Let's see how this goes.
he's gonna have to zoom way out. Copy. Oh yeah,
Oh, wow.
I have been HW,
I have been Suze.
I'm John too.
and well, see you later, folks. Remember to get your pets spayed and neutered, please.
Guitar Friends is on. Maybe you're in your car or mowing your lawn. Just turn it up. The Guitar Friends on. The greatest podcast about guitar is on. As long as you don't count all the ones that have big guests and are very intentional about actually having guitar-related conversations. Guitar Friends is on. This is Guitar Friends. it's most about guitar. Unless we get distracted and talk about food or Teslas.